Ron Timmermans, one of the many hosts with the Florida Aviation Network, and today we're broadcasting live and in the clear from EAA AirVenture 2023 in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. My good friend standing next to me is Mr. Sam Bousfield, and he is the CEO of SAMSON Sky. And SAMSON Sky is about to introduce to the world a new product, one that has never before come to market, an automobile that also transforms into an airplane and then after you land can transform back into a car. Sam, thank you for joining me on the interview today.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be back at AirVenture after being gone for a couple of years. We're so happy and so happy that people remember us and are coming in to see what's new with us.
I sure remember you because this is an absolutely fantastic machine. And how long in the development, Sam? How many years have you been working on this Switchblade?
Oh, longer than I really like to admit, but it's been 14 years since I first penned the idea. And the first few years we're kind of figuring out, do we really want to do this or not, and how will we do it if we did do it? From then on, it's been let's get it done.
That's great, and you have been very faithful in progressing towards your end goal of producing what will be a kit-built airplane, so that people can buy it and build 51% of it themselves or more, and then go fly it away to a paint booth and eventually to their home and park it in their garage if they want to.
That's the beauty of the Switchblade, is you keep it at home. You don't have to have a hanger. You don't have to have it out of your reach and out of your control. It's there where you are, and it's there ready for you when you want to go.
Indeed. So you could actually commute to work in this 5 days a week, and on weekends fly off to visit Aunt Matilda or somebody. Isn't that right?
Yes, and she would probably be happier there.
You don't necessarily have to take her for a ride, but to get to her would be very beneficial. Well, Sam, I've been following you through your newsletters for the last several months. You have really been making incredible progress the last year, and I'm very pleased for you. You've done some test flying, and what do you call it? You've gotten air under the tires? Is that what it's called?
Yes, we've done several long hops and a lot of little small hops, and the end result was we're ready now, we think, to go ahead and do the bigger, longer, around the pattern flight, and then be able to announce to the world first flight, because we're not happy until we look at it and go, this is something we want to show other people. This is what we can stand behind.
Right, and something that is safe. And you've engineered a lot of safety practices into this airplane. I've been watching your newsletters, and I've talked with you before and interviewed you before. I know you put a whole lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this, and everything is going good. So air under the tires means you've actually lifted off from the runway, flown down the length of the runway, and then touched down again without going beyond the airport. Is that correct?
That's correct. So a nice long hop is like, for us, biggest one was 4,400 feet long, almost a mile, not quite, but it gives us enough idea of how it will fly, what its characteristics are like, and the test pilot at that stage is really deciding, do I want to take this around the pattern or not, or do I want to do some more long hops or correction before I do that?
So who's this test pilot, Sam? Is it you?
No, it's not. I think my board would object strenuously if I ever tried to do that.
I'm sure.
But we've employed several good test pilots. One's Ron McElroy, ex-Air Force chief test pilot for United Airlines, really great test pilot, and he's done all the flights so far, all the air work so far, and a lot of ground work so far as well. He's been with the project probably 12 years.
Wow, that's great, and I'm glad he's doing the test flying for you, that you can stay on the ground and evaluate what the results of what he's come. So as our cameraman zooms out now, we can get a look at the rest of the airplane. So it's called a Switchblade for a particular reason, and I see a wing out on this side. What happens to this when it transitions to a car, Sam?
Sure. So the Switchblade's wings swing closed inside the belly of the vehicle. The clamshell doors open up, the wing swings in, and then the clamshell doors close up again for protection of the wings on the ground. The tail actually also transforms. It closes up and pulls forward into the duct area, the ducted fan or propeller area behind. That way it's in front of the bumpers, so all your flying surfaces are protected on the ground.
That's great, because when you're operating this as an automobile, you were subject to all kinds of automobile accidents on the ground, right? And so if you were to damage the airplane while it's on the ground, you wouldn't be able to fly it in the air.
Yeah, and one thing of a flying car, if you're really going to if it's going to be useful, you can't be so worried about it that you wouldn't use it. And by having the flying surfaces protected while on the ground, so you go to the restaurant, so you go inside, you can come out and no one's opened the door and whacked your wing and cracked it, and you weren't there to see.
Yeah, Yeah, that would be tragic indeed. So you said you're in the test flight stage now. What all does that mean? Is the testing ongoing and will be for quite a while, or what?
I expect we'll go for another couple of months on the flight test program. There's a lot you can learn, and we're going to be testing changes after we get done with this. We're going to see what changes we want to make those changes, and then come back and test again.
Yeah, okay, well that's great. So I know you've made some changes to the engine and propeller and engine-driven generator for the propulsion system. Right now, I understand that the test vehicle is slightly different than what would be the production vehicle. Production vehicle is going to have a 3-cylinder engine, is it?
Yes, we have a 3-cylinder in there right now. So liquid cooled, 1 liter, produces about 190 horsepower. Which is nice and light, and we like it. It's been proven, and it's flying in about 100 other aircraft, so we like its history. If we can continue with that engine, we will, and if we need a little bit more horsepower, I've got another engine in mind.
Okay, Sam's always got a backup. That's good. So air rushes in the side here, goes through a ducted fan through the propeller, and then rearward thrust is pushing the car through the air. How about when it's on the ground? What gives it propulsion when it's on the ground?
So the single engine, the one engine, powers the wheels on the ground or the propeller in the air. So that's how we operate the Switchblade. We actually do use the kind of unique thing about us. We use the wheels to get you up to almost takeoff speed for your takeoff run, because you can accelerate so much faster with the wheels than you can with a propeller. And that allows you to set the pitch of the prop for cruise and climb, so that you have more top end. You don't care about the bottom end because the wheels do it.
Yeah, indeed. So speaking of top end, what kind of speed do you anticipate for cruise once you're in the air?
Well, cruise, we're looking at 160 miles an hour. We use miles an hour because we're on the ground in the air, so we picked one. That's
certainly understood. And how about stall characteristics? Do we know anything about that yet, or is that still part of the flight testing mode to happen?
You know, stall testing is usually late in the game for this kind of testing. We did have some early indication of stall in some of the testing, and actually it flew really well. So we're really excited that may be not as scary as we hoped.
Good, I hope not. That'll be wonderful. So I know you've sold reservations or had people sign up for reservations for the cars, and so the first person that signed up was obviously number 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 5. And how many are you up to now with reservations, Sam?
Well, it's going rather brisk here at AirVenture this year, which is really nice. It's been growing constantly throughout this whole time frame, and I think we're at 2380 something, like 2,385 or 6. I haven't checked the last hour, so it could be higher.
That's great. So over 2,300 people are in line before you get to sign up right now, but you could be less than 2,500 in line to get a Switchblade car. So that's certainly in the future for most of us. So what happens next, Sam? I know you're still in the testing stage. How long before people are able to start building the airplane and flying it home?
You know, our production plans, we're in the middle of production engineering right now. As soon as we finish test flight, we'll finish that off, and then that's how to build thousands. So then we'll go ahead and do 3 production prototypes, and we're going to fly them like heck and drive them and try and hurt them so that we can break them and find the weak points before we get to production. So that's about 18 months for that, and then we'll be in production hopefully within about 2 years to start. And that's a training phase. That's not like high production. That's like we're training our staff in a smaller facility while we build out the big facility, because a big facility is like, that's what we're going to grow with, and that's what we're going to be able to produce a lot of planes with.
Good. And that big facility will be in Oregon?
R&D will always stay in Oregon as far as we can tell anyway. That's where we're at right now. But we're still uncertain as to which state we'll start with. But I'm assuming that we'll grow out to at least 4 states throughout the U.S. to spread it out so we can have people not be too far away from one of these places.
So new owners then, when their number comes up, they will get their kit and show up at one of these build centers in maybe as many as 1 of 4 states, and they will build it under the supervision of some Switchblade folks that are watching what they're doing and helping them with it. Is that correct?
Yes, we actually are planning our Builder Assist program around a different approach. Most of the places do a Builder Assist program where you are part of an assembly team and you assemble the parts and you have professionals there who teach you and make it go faster, and that's fine. We could have done that. It would have been a 3-week process on our about 32 station assembly line. But then I looked at it again, and Carbon Cub is doing something I think is tremendous, and it's been approved and okayed by the FAA twice now, looking at it and looking at it again. And that is, if we're making our parts, which we will, in an automated and semi-automated process where it's basically presses and things that operate very quickly and easily, you could train a person to operate those much easier. They can do all the different stations. This is electrical. Now you're on interiors. And now you're on the da-da-da-da-da-da. You don't have to learn all those things. You can go in, learn some simple things, and be done with your parts in about 3 days, 4 days at the top. Do a maintenance course. You actually learn how to maintain your vehicle, right? You build it. You don't know exactly how to maintain it. You just know how it was built. And so that's what we're doing to make it down to about a week time for our Builder Assist program.
A week to do everything?
51%. You have to do all the parts, make all the parts, and then you do some sub-assemblies, so that gets you over the 51%.
Wow, that's amazing. So roughly 2 years away before they're going to start the actual production builds, and depending on where your reservation number is and when you get your kit, you'll show up at one of these maybe 4 production facilities and build your own airplane, and a week later you'll have most of it done. And you'll be flying and driving your Switchblade aircraft. Sam, I can scarcely imagine what all you've gone through in the development and testing phase of this. It is truly a remarkable thing, and for you to have made it this far is absolutely incredible. My heartiest congratulations, you and all of your staff that have worked hard.
Thank you very much. It's been a fun ride. I have some extra gray hairs, but hey, we're getting there.
Indeed you do. So this is Ron Timmermans with the Florida Aviation Network and my friend Sam Bousfield in front of a Switchblade, which will soon become an airplane and car, perhaps in your garage. So join us again on Florida Aviation Network for another interesting interview with someone else special. Thank you, Sam, and thank you for our audience to watching today.